Sasha Nixon has the story.
Police first began looking into Knoll last June after the current sheriff voiced concerns about Knoll's time in the role. He was charged for crimes including ghost employment and official misconduct. Knoll and his wife were both later charged with multiple counts of theft and tax evasion. And state police announced Friday that Knoll's daughter Casey is now facing charges for those same two crimes. Her first court appearance is scheduled for Monday. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
It's not the end of the world, but it's the end of the line for one burger restaurant in Indianapolis. Earlier this week, Apocalypse Burger announced that today will be its last day in business. So if you'd like to get a smash burger or some fried pickles one last time, head to the restaurant on East 49th Street before it permanently closes its doors this evening. Here's your forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Low temperature drops to 43 degrees. Winds are out of the south initially, but shift to out of the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chance of rain in your neighborhood, likely around the 70% chance overnight. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
I'm Wes Woodward, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. We're thrilled that you're with us. If you want to join by video, you can do that at the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search for 93 WIBC or WIBC Gun Guy. You can watch video. I always say the same thing. You're probably chuckling already if you listen to the Gun Guy Show, because I say I'm not much to look at, but if you're interested, there is a chat feature. That's probably the more interesting part. There is a chat feature, and people respond back and forth. That we have some regulars on there, which is kind of cool. So feel free to join us by video on YouTube. Otherwise, I'm excited about tonight's show. I'm especially excited, I have to say, because we have a new sponsor of the Gun Guy Show. We have a new advertiser. And, you know, as it usually tends to be with my advertisers here on this show, these are friends of mine. These are good friends of mine. And these are the folks out at Indiana Gun Club. And listen, I've been shooting out at Indiana Gun Club for quite some time. I am relatively new, and I've talked about this before. I'm relatively new to sporting clays. It wasn't too many years ago. My friend Judge Brian Poindexter, the city court judge in Carmel, who I've been friends with for a long time, he came by my office and he said, "Hey, do me a favor." He said, "Come be on my team at a fundraiser out at Indiana Gun Club." And I said, "Sure, I'd love to. What's going on out there?" He goes, "Well, we're shooting sporting clays." And this is before COVID, so probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, not too long before COVID. And I said, "Absolutely. What the hell are sporting clays?" And he looked at me like I was crazy because here I'm the gun guy, right? And I didn't actually know what sporting clays were. And listen, I've been a shotgun instructor for probably 30 years. Taught a lot of people how to manage their way around a shotgun, but the kind of teaching I've done and the kind of training I've done, the kind of thing I've done as a student has all been around defensive shotgun. It's all about, hey, if a guy kicks your front door down and you happen to have a shotgun, I'm the guy to tell you exactly how to deal with that situation. It's not particularly complicated, but there's a lot more to it than people might realize. And I've been dealing with defensive shotgun for a long time, but I had never been into the shooting sports as they apply to things like trap and skeet and sporting clay. In fact, as I sat there, I literally asked Judge Poindexter, I said, is that like trap or skeet? And sitting there, I couldn't have told you the difference between trap and skeet. No idea. And I sure as hell didn't know what sporting clays were. And he explained it to me. He goes, no, Guy, it's more like golf with a shotgun. And listen, I'm not a golfer. I always have the same response. Somebody asks me if I want to play golf. I say, look, I ride Harleys and shoot guns. I don't have time for golf. Probably the only lawyer in North America who doesn't play golf. But it sounded intriguing to me. And it is a lot like playing golf with a shotgun in that there's stations and they're all different. And you shoot different birds, little clay pigeons that are launched through the air. And they can just like they can change the pin position, the cup position, whatever it is in a golf course. They can completely change the birds, the way they're launched, what direction they go, how fast they go, up, down, crosswise, speed, everything about them. They can change from station to station anytime they want to. And so, but out at Indiana Gun Club, for instance, they have 12 different stations. And I said, sure, I'll do this. But I immediately became nervous because I'd never done it before. And, hell, I got a radio show called The Gun Guide. I didn't want to go out in this fundraiser where there were probably going to be a whole bunch of people I knew, which there were, and completely suck. I mean, that would be embarrassing. So I said, well, yeah, I mean, I'd kind of like to figure the sport out a little bit because this thing was coming up just the next week. Well, he goes, sure, I'll take you out this afternoon, kind of show you the ropes. And I went out and went to the first couple of stations, and I missed my first 3 or 4 birds. And I'm like, okay, well, apparently I'm not very good at this. And then all of a sudden I hit one. I'm like, okay, that was cool. That was fun. I enjoyed that. And then I hit one really good where it just sort of evaporates. I just dusted a clay pigeon. I went, okay, I really like that. That was fun. And then it kept going. And I hit probably more than I missed, but not by much. I was about at 50-50. And we weren't shooting at the hardest birds throughout the course. And so I'm still a little nervous about it. So I went back out that weekend and I took a class from the pro they had out there. A guy named Bob Self. And listen, we lost Bob during COVID. I don't think it was actually COVID related, but it was right in that same time frame. And Bob is like a 9-time world champion at sporting clays. I mean, he was just an unbelievable talent, an unbelievable teacher. And I'll tell you what, some good friends of mine use the term when we lose somebody who really has added a lot to just to society, to our civilization, to everyday life. We always say we are diminished, and we are diminished from having lost Bob Self, who's just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being. And I'm much better off for having known him. I'm certainly a better sporting clay shooter because I went out and took a lesson from Bob that same weekend. Just spent an hour, and he just took me through the fundamentals. And I learned so much in an hour with Bob. I probably accomplished more, I learned more, got better at hitting birds, shooting sporting clays than I could have done, in years by myself. And that was fabulous. Then I went out and shot the course by myself, which you can do at Indy Arms. Indy Arms. Which you can do at Indiana Gun Club because they have a feature on their stations where you can actually set each bird up on a delay and program the birds you want and just put that you're shooting solo, and you program the launcher accordingly, and it'll shoot on a delay, and you can actually shoot totally by yourself, which is really cool. If you just happen to get some free time, man, I'm going to go shoot around sporting clays. You don't need a partner. You can run out there and do it on your own, which I've done many, many times. So I did that then that same weekend. Then I went out with the team on Monday, and and shot around and shot a little better. And again, the lesson that I had was incredibly useful. And then the fundraiser was then the next couple of days, and I did that, and actually I ended up hitting. And again, fundraiser birds, they set them up. A lot of people out there have never shot before, and again, I was a rookie, so they're not. They set the course up to where it's not particularly difficult, and that's something I learned later on. But I went out and I shot the course, and I hit 45 out of 50 in the morning, and I'm thinking, well, damn, that was pretty good. And then I went out in the afternoon. They had two different sessions. I went out and shot again in the afternoon. I hit 49 out of 50 and one top shot. And I got a bunch of swag. I got like a range bag and some other stuff, some ammo. And I'm like, oh, I'm a natural. There you go. I'm going to dominate. So I immediately signed up for the Sporting Clay Association, the U.S. Sporting Clay Association. And I started registering for the tournaments, for competitions. Because I like to measure myself against, the best. I'm thinking I'm a 49 out of 50 guy. I'm going to go out and dominate this thing. And I went out and shot my first what they call registered shoot, an actual tournament where you're competing. They put you in a class, like you go into E class, which is the very lowest class. This is where I was. And I'm thinking, oh, E class, lowest level. I'm going to dominate this thing. We went out, and then I learned the difference. That very first tournament, I learned the difference between fundraiser birds and tournament birds. And they are dramatically different, let me tell you, as far as how fast they're moving, what direction they're going, what distance you're shooting at. Everything about them is a whole different animal, whole different world, whole different experience, and to me, so much more challenging. And I think I hit something like 48 out of 100. I don't know. It was not impressive. And I think I came in last or second to last in my class, in E class, which is the lowest class. I'm like, okay, all right. I'm not a natural. I'm not going to dominate this sport. I got a whole lot to learn still. But that's been the learning experience. And you can move up. If you want to do the tournament, you don't have to. You can just go out and do it for fun. And that's what a lot of people do. I'd say probably most people. But if you want to compete, you can sign up. You get your Sporting Clay Association number, and you register, and you go shoot these shoots, and you win so many tournaments in your class. Then that you get to, and there are requirements for how many you got to win in each class to move up to the next one. And you got to win so many, and the numbers go up. You got to win, 4 as a E class shooter. You get to move up to D, and then now you got to win 6 or 8, I forget, to move up to the next, and you start over. I mean, you start each class with 0. But I did all of that, and I think I'm now in B class. B is in Bravo, and then it goes A and double A and Master. Master is the very top level, and I'm lucky enough to shoot with a bunch of Master level shooters, and it's like a lesson every time I go out. They're all phenomenal. They're all dramatically better than me. And so I get to learn every time I go out. And a lot of these guys have been doing it for 30 or 40 years or more. And it's a tremendous learning experience. But you're outside and you're moving from station to station. And like I said, it's a lot like golf. Well, that's what they do at Indiana Gun Club. And listen, I've got a lot more to say about those guys. And they're going to be running ads, as you'll hear in just a bit. But I could not be more excited because I know these guys. They're friends of mine. I've been shooting out there for a number of years, even before I started shooting sporting clays, excuse me. I was buying guns out there because they have some of the best quality high-end firearms out there you're ever going to find. Not just shotguns, not just sporting clay, trap and skeet, because they also have trap and skeet out there. But I bought 2 different Wilson Combats out there. I bought 2 different Ed Browns out there. Really, really nice top-end handguns. And they are a Wilson Combat elite dealer, I think it's called, where they get early releases. They get some of the very nicest handguns, faster than anybody else, and a whole wide variety. You want Glocks and SIGs and things that aren't quite that pricey, which I carry a SIG. And they have all those too. So they're neat people. I've been doing business with them for years and years, even before I started shooting sporting clays. So I'm so excited. And so I want to welcome them with open arms and say I'm excited that they're a new sponsor. You'll hear more about them here in just a bit. I'm sure I'll have some folks out there. My buddy Phil, the owner, we'll have on the show Gordon, who's also a good buddy of mine, and he runs a lot of the operation out there, including the catering. He is a chef, a trained chef, and they have catered events out there where you can bring in your corporate group, your business group, whatever it might be. You can have fundraisers. They'll bring in an incredibly good array of food as part of that event. Anyway, it's just neat. And I've participated in all of that out there. I've shot out there a ton in the 5 or 6 years I've been shooting sporting clays. And I bought a lot of guns out there, including my present sporting clay shotgun, a Magnus Guarini, Magnus Sporting, beautiful shotgun, which I bought right there at Indiana Gun Club. So I couldn't be more excited about these guys being sponsors, and I welcome them enthusiastically, and you'll hear a lot more about it. In the meantime, we're going to take a break. A little late going into this break, but we're going to take a break and come back, and we'll get more into the substance of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC.
The Trump train steamed through Super Tuesday.
Let's get going, okay?
The final destination,
Where we're going?
Milwaukee, this summer.
Republican National Convention.
Then, the mother of all rematches in November.
Number one on the poll.
This is the most important election.
The choice facing America.
Keep yapping, man.
Chuck, let me shut you down for a second.
It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
Did you use the word smart?
Don't miss a stop along the way on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Indiana Gun Club. As I just mentioned, this is a new sponsor. This is Indy's premier shotgun club. They're located in Fortville, just a few minutes from Indy, really convenient from the north and particularly the northeast side. They've got over 2,000 guns in inventory, and they've got a great clubhouse with a large selection of shotguns, pistols, and rifles. They sit on 150 acres. They offer trap, skeet, and sporting clays, and 5-stand. If you've ever shot that, a lot of fun. They're open to the public. You don't need a membership. You can go. You can shoot sporting clays, trap, or skeet. Got a lot of parking, and they have campground hookups out there as well. They have tournaments, as I mentioned, registered shoots, fun shoots. They handle a lot of the youth groups, which I love, including 4-H and the sporting clay, SCTP. Organization that my friend Jim Dunn actually founded. That's the Scholastic Clay Group. They've got a whole bunch of different events they can accommodate out there. They've got a newly remodeled sporting clay course. And I'll tell you, it used to be years ago, they used to get a little muddy out there when the weather was bad. They fixed that completely, and they've paved the walkway. They've got golf carts available. You can have your corporate event out there, your fundraiser. You can have team building events, with client relations, even bachelor parties. They got room to accommodate over 120 people, and I can host up to 250 people a day out on the course. They can cater your meal. They have different beverage options, and again, they're catered food out there, run by my buddy Gordon. Couldn't be any better. I was out there. They had pulled pork for an event I just had out there, and it could not have been better. Check them out in Fortville at Indiana Gun Club. Really, my friends, excited to welcome here. You couldn't have a better time to go out there and hit some birds, have a good time, do some shopping at Indiana Gun Club, located in Fortville.
Hey, Fed rate cut plans have reduced mortgage rates more than a full point. So if you have been waiting to sell, now is the time. You can max your home sale price with the only agent and team I recommend. That's Mark Dietel. Maybe you're a growing family and you need more space, kind of like Andy and Kim in Fortville. They have an 8-month-old. Time to add more space. Heard about Mark Dietel on the radio. Hired him right away. The house is under contract in 48 hours, and Mark found him a bigger place, too.
Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert we trust and recommend here on the Hammer and Nigel Show. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, no required repairs. Contact Mark Dietel today, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietel.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Save big with Pike Smokes Megastore's great deals. Right now, buy one, get one half off any mushroom products on Shroomy Saturdays. Whether you vape or smoke cigars, Pike Smoke supports all types of smokers with discounts every day. Enjoy 15% off military and first responders, buy one, get one half off on disposables, and more. Visit Pike Smokes Megastore today at 5028 East 62nd Street in Indianapolis or online at pikesmokesmegastore.com.
My child has fallen in love with math and science. Every day she comes home from school and says, "Guess what I learned today?" At IPS, she gets the kind of hands-on learning that works with her learning style. She does experiments. She learns how math is used in real life. With 8 educational models to choose from, including STEM, IPS has a school for you. Choose your IPS today at myips.org.
This ad was paid for by Indianapolis Public Schools.
Did you know if you have water, storm, or fire damage, the first step is on you? Yikes. It's your responsibility to mitigate damages. Mitigate? Yeah, that's a fancy word for call Michaelis. They'll take it from there, from boarding up, cleaning up, and fixing up, to getting you squared up with your insurance company, which is a whole other mess you can avoid. Make it Michaelis. Call 844-FIX-INDY.
Technology Recyclers is Indiana's best choice for computer and electronics recycling. A Hoosier veteran-owned company, Technology Recyclers is R2, Rios, and MAID certified, 100% landfill-free, and always guarantees complete data destruction. And you can expect free business pickups anywhere in Indiana at tech-recyclers.com or call 1-800-237-3887. Technology Recyclers, the official sponsors of tomorrow. That's tech-recyclers.com for a stress-free experience in recycling. Indy's leader in patio installation is now offering a new driveway package. Schedule a free estimate today at IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. That's IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back to the Gun Guy Show. Glad to have you with us. I noticed with great interest that Jefferson Shreve, former mayor, candidate right here in Indianapolis, that is a candidate for mayor here in Indy, just got beaten here in the most recent election by the incumbent, Joe Hogsett. But Jefferson Shreve was the Republican running against him. And Jefferson Shreve lost by 20 or so points, as I recall, about what everybody predicted. But he also lost a lot of his Republican base. He was trying to attract, I think, moderate to liberal voters into his campaign, and he may have gotten some of those, but he certainly lost a whole bunch of the Republican base here in Marion County, where I'm doing the show from, and a large part of that was because he came out with completely anti-Second Amendment policies as proposals. These were things that were his idea, that he said would reduce crime in Marion County, because apparently law-abiding gun owners are actually the problem with causing the crime in Marion County. Because he said, well, we need to roll back constitutional carry in Marion County. And actually said, as part of his platform, running for mayor, I would rescind constitutional carry in Marion County. Well, of course, he can't do that. The mayor can't do that. Local governments can't regulate firearms. That would take repealing or modifying the state statute, the Firearms Preemption Act, that prohibits local governments from regulating firearms. That act would have to be amended. The state statute would have to be amended to allow Marion County to do what Jefferson Shreve proposed to do. And by the way, Joe Hogsett said exactly the same thing. So Jefferson Shreve was simply emulating the same proposal already set forth by Joe Hogsett. And he did exactly the same thing by saying, well, I would ban assault weapons in Marion County. Well, of course, he can't do that, but the same thing applies. He said, go to the General Assembly. He said, as a Republican, he would have a better chance of going to the Indiana General Assembly and convincing the Republican majorities in the House and the Senate and the Indiana General Assembly to modify the Preemption Act so as to allow him to do the things he wanted to do. And then he would also raise the age to buy a gun to 21. And yet, listen, under federal law, you have to be 21 to buy a handgun from a dealer already. So really what this would apply to would be long guns, rifles and shotguns. And so his proposal, he said, would keep people safe in Marion County. So keep in mind that in Marion County, as a local government, they can't pass a law. They can't pass a criminal statute that can put you in prison. All they can do is pass an ordinance. And if you violated an ordinance, they can fine you. So the proposal from Jefferson Shreve was that he was going to pass ordinances in Marion County that would fine people for buying or selling or possessing so-called assault weapons, the most commonly owned rifles in America, the way that the ordinance would define it. And would fine people if they sold guns to people under 21, even rifles and shotguns, so that, yeah, I can go to Iraq or Afghanistan, put my life on the line for my country at the age of 18. I can drive a tank or an artillery unit or fly a drone or carry an M4 select fire, quote unquote, machine gun into battle defending my country, but I can't come home and buy a shotgun to go hunting with my dad, according to Jefferson Shreve, if I'm 18 or 19 or 20. Those were his proposals. Now, Joe Hogsett had all the same proposals. In fact, Joe Hogsett had one additional one where he would ban concealed carry of firearms completely in Marion County, in addition to rolling back constitutional carry. But with that exception, Jefferson Shreve simply regurgitated the exact same proposals from Joe Hogsett. That's when he ran for mayor. Now, he got his butt kicked. And if you listen to the Gun Guy Show or listen to Hammer and Nigel, where I appear every Monday on Monday Gun Day, 3:35, usually replayed about 6:15 every Monday. We talked a lot about Jefferson Shreve. So, as I say, I noted with interest, great interest here not too long ago, that he announced he's a candidate for Congress in the 6th District down southeast Indiana. So Columbus, probably the biggest town in the 6th District. But several other significantly sized towns, and all within, or I believe all, most, if not all, within the WIBC listening area. So if you live down in that area in the 6th Congressional District, it's particularly germane to you. And so now the guy wants to run for Congress, and I'm fascinated. In fact, I sent his team, it's funny, his website, if you go to Shreve for Congress, or you Google Shreve for Congress, you get the website which says Shreve for Mayor, and apparently he's using the same website. And maybe, I don't know, this could be my old age not facilitating me finding the correct website. So if I'm wrong on this, which could very well be, I apologize. But I couldn't find a separate website from Shreve for Mayor. I got directed to Shreve for Mayor. So, okay, well, I went there and I sent an email there as a media inquiry. I have a show on WIBC. I'd like to interview you. And for instance, Mike Speedy, who had a long career in the Indiana General Assembly and incredibly strong on the Second Amendment, is also running for the 6th District. And I know Mike Speedy. I've worked with Mike Speedy. And Mike Speedy has been our friend and a great supporter and a great advocate for Second Amendment rights here in Indiana. And he has a track record that establishes exactly that. And it is a notable distinction to me in that race. And I think Mike Speedy and Jefferson Shreve are going to be the front runners. Jefferson Shreve has a lot of money, make no mistake. That's why when he first announced he was running for mayor, I was actually excited about it. I'm like, all right, we got a guy, decent looking guy, successful businessman, made himself a multi-million, hundreds of millions of dollars in the self-storage business, self-made man, made his own millions of dollars, deserves everything he earned in that capacity. And when he ran for mayor, I go, all right, this is a guy, maybe give Hogsett a run for his money. Oops. Until he came out and shot himself in the foot, pun perhaps intended, by coming out with completely anti-Second Amendment policies. And I mean, what Republicans are going to show up? He completely stabbed us in the back. So now he's running for Congress. And so I sent the media inquiry today saying, hey, I'd love to have you on my show because I didn't reveal the question. I'm sure you could guess it because I know he and his team have heard me be critical of him when he was running for mayor. I want to know, if you said we can reduce crime in Indiana by rolling back constitutional carry, raising the age to buy a gun, and banning assault weapons, I have to assume you're going to support those same policies if you were to be elected to Congress. Because the Democrats in Congress have been trying to do each of those things for years. So do you want to be elected as a Republican congressman for the 6th District so that you can go to Congress and help the Democrats pass the same policies that you advocated for when you were running for mayor in Indianapolis? It's a completely fair question. That's not an ambush question. I'm putting it out there right now. I'll be glad to send that to him in writing before he accepts or declines the invitation to the Gun Guy show. I have a feeling I know how that's going to go, but maybe he has an answer. But what's fascinating to me, and hey, if anybody from the Shreve campaign is listening, you want to call in, 317-239-9393, 317-239-9393. Call in, because here's my question. If you think that's the way to solve the problem with crime in Indiana, as you said you did when you were running for mayor, then I would think you would have to support those same policies in Congress. And if that's not so, if you're saying, oh, no, I only said those things when I was running for mayor of Indianapolis, is that because you didn't really believe in those things? You were just pandering to the liberals in Marion County. And when you espouse those things as being actions that can save lives in Marion County, you weren't really serious. You just thought you'd get some liberal votes. And if that's true, and you didn't believe in those policies that you said you believed in Marion County, and you will not support those same policies in Congress, then you were lying. You were lying to the voters in Marion County as to what you believe in, what you think will solve issues with violence. So if you were willing to lie to the voters in Marion County, why on God's green earth would anybody trust you to represent them in Congress? That is a legitimate question. It's not an ambush question. I want an answer to that question. Somebody from the Shreve campaign, send me an email. Hey, have him call in. We'll arrange it at a date when it's convenient for him. He can't be here Saturday 5 to 7 when I'm on. I will come down to the studio. We'll pre-record it at a time that's convenient for you. I want an answer. If you said those policies will save lives in Marion County, then you must advocate for those same policies in Congress. And are you telling the voters in the 6th District, the Republican voters in that primary, that you supported those exact policies when you ran for mayor in Indianapolis? And are you telling them whether or not you'll support those policies in Congress and join Democrats who have been trying to pass each of those gun control measures for years, where the Republicans have so far held them off? Are you switching teams when you get to Congress on those issues and will support the Democrats? That's a fair question, and I want to know the answer. And you know what? The voters in the 6th District in Southeast Indiana deserve an answer to that question, particularly the ones who care about Second Amendment rights. You heard it here. You're going to hear more about it, because I'm not going to let this go. We're going to get an answer, at least in the sense that I'm going to get declined by their campaign to even talk to me. And guess what, folks? That is an answer. We'll see where that goes. I hope he comes on. I hope he answers. I hope he has an answer that surprises me, and I'll go, wow, okay, that's totally fair. I don't know what that could conceivably be, but I'm open to the possibility. In the meantime, I'm way past the bottom of the hour. It's time to take a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Another news update is minutes away.
President Biden says the State of the Union is strong. My purpose tonight is to wake up the Congress. This is no ordinary moment.
Get the facts.
The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader.
Not just the talking points.
You can't love your country only when you win.
On the level.
You can expect lots of rain in our area.
On the go.
About an inch, maybe a little bit more in some areas.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. Family owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Have you ever felt like you're not good enough? Like you're always falling short? The Bible tells us that we are all sinners and that our sin separates us from God. But God loves us so much that he sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for our sins. Jesus took our place. He became the great exchange. He took our sin upon himself and he gave us his righteousness. Hi, this is Pastor Micah Beckwith. This Easter, March 31st at Life Church, we want to invite you to celebrate the great exchange with us. Go to lifechurchin.com to learn more about our Easter service times.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. 500 Guns is your classic old-school gun shop with the best service in Indy. You have to experience it to believe it. Joe and Guy Montgomery and their friendly staff are there to help you if you're a first-time gun owner or looking to add to your collection. They buy and sell single guns or entire collections. Visit 500 Guns today on West 16th Street or spell out the words 500guns.com. 500guns.com.
I'm Ann Carrick. 800 delegates from No Labels are putting together a bipartisan presidential unity ticket.
The party will begin the process of choosing its candidates next Thursday. In a statement, No Labels said it was apparent that these citizens believe this is a just cause and that No Labels should provide Americans with the additional choice that they so clearly want. It's not just No Labels getting in the way of the Trump-Biden rematch. So too is independent presidential candidate RFK Jr., who pitched himself to voters in his own State of the Union address.
Fox's Brian Yanes, Nikki Haley, and Kirsten Sinema saying no to a third-party run. Microsoft warning Russian foreign intelligence hackers again are trying to break into its systems. It seems the hackers used data from stolen corporate emails in January to gain access to the tech giant. America's listening to Fox News.
This is the day of the big sale at your gift shop.
Welcome in.
So this isn't just a big day for your business. It's a big day for the network keeping it all connected. That is, if it can handle the pressure.
Next in line, please.
So is it possible to get business internet you can really count on? It is. With 99.9% network reliability from Comcast Business. It's like this neat little bow.
Do you like that gift wrap?
Really ties it all together. Reliable internet for your business. It's not just possible, it's happening. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Get started with internet and security for $49 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract when you add one unlimited mobile line. Plus, ask how to get an $800 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today to switch to Comcast Business. Ends 5/5/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 100 megabits per second internet and security edge. Eco-bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show next Saturday and Sunday at the Delaware County Fairgrounds in Muncie. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. buy, sell, trade. Next Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Delaware County Fairgrounds in Muncie. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'll tell you what, we're going to have a really short segment right here because I went way over when I was in mid-rant about Jefferson Shreve. I'll tell you what, I'm just ticked off about this. I mean, when a Republican has as a primary plank in their platform gun control, which by definition only affects law-abiding citizens and doesn't do anything to affect actual criminals, I'm sorry. That goes against everything I believe in when it comes to conservative politics. And so that's the reason that sets me off. But I want to get into, after this break, again, we're going to have a real short segment here. But after this break, we'll talk about this legislative session. And we have mostly good news in that both bills that I testified for multiple times in both the House and the Senate during this legislative session, that's House Bill 1084 and House Bill 1235, they both passed. Both the House and the Senate, they both were amended a little bit. One of them made its way out of conference committee, and they're both on their way to the governor, or will be very soon. And that's a good thing because they're both good bills, and a lot of people put a lot of time and effort in getting these through, both the House and the Senate. One of them was amended in the Senate in a way that I'm real disappointed about. And we'll talk more about that when we come back. Right now, we're going to go ahead and take another break so we can get back on schedule. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show. By the way, I want to take your calls throughout the show, as we always do. Give us a call. Any 2A-related issues, you want to talk about Jefferson Shreve, you want to talk about anything else going on out there, Second Amendment-related, give us a call, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
The Trump train steamed through Super Tuesday.
Let's get going, okay?
The final destination.
Where we're going?
Milwaukee this summer.
Republican National Convention.
Then, the mother of all rematches in November.
Number one on the poll.
This is the most important election.
The choice facing America.
Keep yapping, man.
Let me shut you down for a second.
It's hard to get any word in with this clown.
Did you use the word smart?
Don't miss a stop along the way on your 2024 election information station, 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our most popular class is our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class. And we've got one coming up just a week from today on March 16th at Indy Arms. Going to be 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner, what you really need to know to stay on the right side of the law. Here after the top of the hour, we're going to talk about a self-defense scenario that I posted on social media. You're going to learn exactly what you need to know about the justified use of force, including the justified use of deadly force in Indiana. We'll get into all those issues and a lot more in Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. We also have one coming up in Avon out at Parabellum. Great place to take a class. That's going to be on Saturday, March 23rd, the very next week. So if Avon is a little closer to you on the west side, I can also check that out. Also 9 to 2 at Parabellum Firearms right there on Kingston Street. It's $50 for an individual, both classes, $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. We'd love to see you there for Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. You can go to tactical-firearms.com, just click on upcoming courses, at tactical-firearms.com.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
If you love spring and Indy but hate the paint, do what Lynn did. She called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Now you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Even the people that have been a little younger than us have said they don't have to worry about getting just an everyday painter because Rhino Shield has the 25-year warranty, and we truly believe in this product.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
A house isn't a home without a little wear and tear, spilled milk, or muddy paws. But don't just clean it, quick shine it. Hey, Pat Sullivan here for Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners with some Floor Care 101 tips. First, no matter the surface type, be sure to remove dust and debris. Avoid heavy chemicals or all-purpose liquids as they can damage the sealant layer or leave an oily residue. Now, to best clean and protect your floors at a modest price, don't just clean it, quick shine it. Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners use ingredients that make it better for kids, pets, and the environment with an EPA Safer Choice certification. And QuickShine has a full line of products to treat any surface, including their floor cleaner, floor finisher, and hardwood floor luster. I use it on my own floors. Made right here in Central Indiana for over 60 years by Holloway House, a family-owned company. QuickShine Finishes and Cleaners is available at retailers everywhere.
My husband, Bob, has Parkinson's, and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care, and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. Eligible members can select a plan now. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I'll tell you what, we've had several people call in, so let's go to the phone lines. And let's see, Scott has a question. Scott, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah.
You mentioned a few weeks ago that if somebody's on probation, they can't own firearms or possess them while they're on probation.
Yeah, that's a standard term. I'm sorry, Scott, buddy. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just saying I was agreeing with you in that that's typically a standard term of probation, that there can't be any firearms even in the place where you live.
Yeah, so the question, though, is what are acceptable disposition methods for your firearms, specifically NFA items that are held as an individual instead of a trust?
That's a great question. I mean, with the NFA items, and for people who don't know what we're talking about, we're talking about National Firearms Act regulated items of suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, machine guns, that type thing. If that's held in a trust, Scott, then any co-trustee could possess it, and that's easy peasy. If the co-trustees for some reason can't, then that's a more of a pickle because you can't just have your buddy hold that for you, who's not a co-trustee on your trust, because now he's in possession of an unregistered NFA item, which is 10 years in prison. Now, you could go to a Class 3 dealer who is licensed to deal in NFA items and have them hold it in their safe and short term. But the easy answer is just allow a co-trustee to hold it, because they're already on the trust. They can legally possess that item anyway. So if the logistics of that work, that's the easy solution. That makes sense?
Okay, so that answers it. So as an individual, it'd have to go to a Class 3 dealer then temporarily. So that's what I was wondering about. Just curious.
All right. Okay, man. Thanks for calling. Let's go back to the phone lines. We've got Matthew. Matthew, got a question?
Yeah, so I was wondering if like a business posted on there somewhere just saying that I can't bring my firearm in, what would happen if I did do that? Is that against my constitutional right to carry?
If a business has a sign that says you can't take a gun there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no, Matthew, the Constitution protects you from the government. It doesn't protect you against businesses, private entities, or other people. So no, it's not a violation of your constitutional right. And as the owner of property, people can manage their property how they want to. And if they don't want to have guns on their property, they can have that policy. If you violate that policy, though, they can't confiscate your firearm. In Indiana, unlike several states, it's not a crime to ignore a sign that says no firearms. You're just violating their policy. So think of it exactly like, during COVID, a lot of businesses had signs up that said no mask, no service, or masks required. And if you walked in there with no mask on, I had this happen to me a lot of times. You walk in someplace and they're like, hey, you have to have a mask. I'm like, okay. And I turn around and leave. No harm, no foul. Now, if I walk in, I'm carrying a gun, somebody sees my gun, whatever reason knows I'm carrying, and says, hey, you can't have a gun in here, you need to leave. If I say, oh, hell no, I'm not leaving, under Indiana's criminal trespass statute, that says that I've now committed criminal trespass, because if I'm on somebody else's property and they ask me to leave and I refuse, that's criminal trespass. But if I just ignore a sign that says no firearms, I'm not breaking the law. I'm just violating their policy, which means they can kick me out if they want. I'll tell you what, Casey has called. I've only got about 30 seconds. So, Casey, we may not have time to deal with your question, but you have a question about USCCA, I think.
Yes.
And what's the question?
Are they a legitimate outfit? We got a free 2-hour seminar, and I didn't know if they're just going to try and, sell you the membership, or if their questions.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you what.
As you do.
Yeah, and forgive me for cutting you off. We only got a few seconds. But, yes, they are going to try to sell you a membership. Are they legit? I'll answer that this way. I've been a USCCA member, and I've had their insurance since 2012, so for 12 years now. Right now, at the top of the hour, time to take a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Fed rate cut plans have reduced mortgage rates more than a full point and dropping. If you've been waiting to sell, now is the time. Maximize your home sales price with the agent and team I recommend, Mark Dietel. Maybe you want maximum equity from your home, but not sure how. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Claire and Gary in Danville had to say about working with Mark Dietel. We were retiring and moving to Florida. Our home was in Danville and was on the market for almost a year with our previous agent. We hired Mark Dietel and things changed fast. We got an offer we thought we would never get. Mark and his team were a lifesaver. Call the agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com.
The most common form of treatment for the arthritic joints is normally cortisone injections and gel shots and over-the-counter medications. And most patients have tried all of that and are still in pain.
Every day, Dr. Aaron Wolkoff, a QC Kinetics medical director, meets patients who have exhausted every method to get relief. They've been told surgery is their only option.
They want to stay away from that path, and they come to us almost as the last hope. So we're using our own body's properties to help manage pain, to help slow arthritis down, keep the patients active with no downtime, and getting back to what they enjoy doing. I mean, I love what I do.
QC Kinetics regenerative treatments from our board-certified providers help heal and restore aching joints. No surgery, harmful drugs, or downtime. Call for your free consultation today.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. In Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. 500 Guns is your classic old-school gun shop with the best service in Indy. You have to experience it to believe it. Joe and Guy Montgomery and their friendly staff are there to help you if you're a first-time gun owner or looking to add to your collection. They buy and sell single guns or entire collections. Visit 500 Guns today on West 16th Street or spell out the words 500guns.com. 500guns.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Red Sea, I'm Ann Carrick, Fox News.
Houthi rebels and their forces in Yemen have said that they've launched their largest attack yet in the Red Sea. Now, despite almost daily counterattacks from U.S. and U.K. ships since January. Now, the Houthis have been attacking ships in the Red Sea since November in what they claim is a campaign of solidarity with Palestinians during the war in Gaza. In this recent attack, the Iranian-backed group flew dozens of drones over the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden early this morning, lasting for over 2 hours. U.S. Central Command says they, along with other allies, stopped the attacks by shooting down only 15 of the 37 total drones, 8 of which were shot down by French and Danish warships.
Fox's Stephanie Bennett. About 315 students were kidnapped in northwestern Nigeria in the last 48 hours, 15 taken by armed men this morning as they slept. School abductions are common in Nigeria's northern region, especially since the 2014 kidnapping of more than 200 schoolgirls by Boko Haram extremists. Armed gangs often target schools for kidnap ransom. Others seize mining sites and farmland, enacting forced labor. 4 suspects are released without bail in a case involving dismembered body parts found on Long Island. It's prompting backlash regarding New York's bail reform laws. New York State Senator Dean Murray on Fox.
You would think that dismembering and disposing of a corpse would probably qualify for something where you should be held and not set free back out into the public. But lo and behold, because of New York's bail laws, it was not.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul saying the DA should have been able to bring murder charges instead of hindering prosecution, tampering with physical evidence, and concealing a human corpse. And that would have made the suspects bail eligible. America is listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
5 inches of rain by tomorrow.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
A helicopter crash in Texas near the Mexican border kills 2.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
I'm Wes Woodward, and here's what's trending this hour. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen is innocent until proven guilty, and his attorneys are trying to put together their defense.
Allen's legal team filed an ex parte motion this week asking the judge for funding, but that ex parte motion wasn't kept private. Prosecutor Nick McClellan admitted to reading that motion in a Friday court filing, and he's done this in the past. McClellan said it was a mistake, but it does affect Allen's defense. It's unclear if the prosecutor will be punished. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Police are investigating, and a family is hoping for more answers after an Indiana woman died following a flight from the Dominican Republic last Wednesday. Sasha Nixon explains.
Officers think Stephanie Smith experienced a medical emergency on a flight to Charlotte. Her boyfriend noticed that her eyes had rolled back into her head and she had started convulsing. The American Airlines plane made an emergency landing in Turks and Caicos, and Smith was taken to a hospital, but she did not survive. Sasha Nixon, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Closing out the regular season on a high note. That's the goal of the IU Hoosier men's basketball team. The Hoosiers have won 3 in a row and hope to make it 4 with Michigan State coming to Assembly Hall on Sunday.
You know, Michigan State is a good basketball team. They're well coached. They play hard, and we got to go out and commit ourselves for 40 minutes.
That's IU head coach Mike Woodson. Pre-game coverage starts at 3:30 right here on 93 WIBC. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Clouds starting to break apart, a low temperature at 29 degrees, no real precipitation, if anything, maybe a spit of mist, and winds in the northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, with a sunny and mild Sunday ahead for all. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Drew Narsutis for 93 WIBC.
My brother never checks on Dad, or my sister won't make time to take Mom to the doctor. Are these things you've heard yourself say? This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. I have a caregiving tip for you. Stay tuned.
At Cardon Senior Living Communities, you'll find our teams share a commitment to enhancing the lifestyle and well-being of the people we serve every day at every stage of life.
Expressing anger or resentment toward unsupportive siblings can cause unmendable rifts in relationships. Don't try to control everyone else. You can only control yourself. The success of your caregiving journey does not rest on others. So enjoy the time with your loved one. This is your special time with them. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
See Absolute Comfort at the Flower and Patio Show, booth 382, to learn more about Mitsubishi Douglas Mini Splits. Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Douglas Pro dealer.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment. And this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us on a March afternoon. And hope you got out today. Hope you got to bust some primers. I taught a private class. I really enjoyed doing this. If you as an individual or maybe a couple, if you want to come take a private class, you can check out the pricing and whatnot at tactical-firearms.com. And I really enjoy. I'm not teaching the big group classes. My Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class I do. But in terms of actual shooting classes, I'm just doing that on a private basis now. I really enjoy doing that. I think we can get a lot more done in less amount of time with just being one-on-one or perhaps two-on-one. And today a young lady came in, had shot before, had a very nice little SIG, personal defense handgun, and we talked about her gun specifically, and then we got in to the fundamentals of marksmanship, gun safety, and went out to the range, and she just shot really well. And she was a little nervous about it to start, but she got very calm very quickly, and then was really, really good and shot really well, and really, I think, enjoyed it. And I can tell she's going to spend a lot more time at the range and be a lot more comfortable carrying her gun, as she does. And she'd already figured out a lot of stuff on her own. For instance, she had a really good carry method. She has a gun purse. And listen, there are some downsides to off-body carry, as we call it. Your purse is a target anyway, in terms of somebody wanting to steal it. And now you got to be extra concerned about it with your gun being in it. But listen, women dress differently than men, and have different needs in terms of concealment and comfort and accessibility, and finding things that are appropriate with the way they dress. And women don't wear belts nearly as often. My wife always tells me, it's funny. She'll look at me with a stern look and say, "Women don't wear belts. Belts are not your friend." And I'm sure there are people out there rolling their eyes going, well, I wear belts and whatnot. But generally speaking, a lot of wardrobe choices, wearing dresses and whatnot. Yoga pants, hey, you're not wearing a belt. And so anyway, but she'd figured all that out and had a really excellent purse made by Browning, actually, that worked really well for her. But anyway, it was just fun. And enjoyed that private class, just 2 hours out at Indy Arms, got a lot done, and she's a better shot, and she's a lot more comfortable with her gun. As I mentioned last hour, the Indiana General Assembly passed both the bills that I was strongly advocating for, that my organization, the 2A Project, was advocating for. By the way, check that out at the2aproject.com. We'd love to have you as a member. We'd love to have your support. And we do a lot of communication, and we get people to the State House. We let you know what's going on at the state and federal level, but we'd love to have you involved. But House Bill 1084 was an important bill here this last session, and it prohibits the use of credit card codes specific to transactions at firearms-related businesses, gun stores. And where did this come from? Well, the International Organization for Standardization, it's called, located somewhere in Europe. I want to say Belgium or somewhere. But a bunch of gun control proponents here in the U.S., some anti-Second Amendment members of Congress, some gun control groups. We're talking, Every Town for Gun Safety and Brady Campaign and those people. They went to this organization and they said, and what this organization does is they manage the credit card codes. They manage a bunch of different issues, but one of the things that they manage is credit card codes that get assigned when you buy something, when you make a purchase at a particular kind of store. That's often coded in a particular way so that you can break down your purchases and your spending later on. For instance, where my wife banks, they will send you a report, or you can go on the website and look it up, and they'll say last month, you spent whatever percentage at grocery store, and you spent this percentage at, and give you dollar amounts at retail stores, and you spent this much at restaurants, and it'll give you a breakdown about where you're spending your money. And that can have some value in terms of, planning your budget and your spending. And so the codes themselves are not evil, but this anti-gun group, several groups, and anti-gun politicians went to this group and they said, well, we want a separate credit card code for transactions at gun stores. And they said, we need this so we can track suspicious purchases at gun stores and perhaps allow authorities to identify the next mass shooter or even terroristic activity based on suspicious purchases at gun stores. So we need a separate code specific to gun stores. And this organization, effective, I think it was July 2022, created this separate code. And a lot of us looked at this as soon as it happened, and I've talked about it here on the show before. A lot of us looked at that and said, hold on, what do you get? What information do you derive from the use of these codes at a gun store? You get the fact that Guy Relford spent X amount of dollars at XYZ gun store, like Premier Arms in Brownsburg, sponsor of Monday Gun Day, or Indy Arms, where I taught this class today, or Pinnacle Firearms, where I'm teaching my gun law class later on. But you get Guy Relford spent X amount of dollars at this particular store. That's all you get. So let's say we can identify, and by the way, so what? All this information is going to be shared with the government? They're going to turn this over to the FBI, the ATF? What? How's that work? Who's going to flag these suspicious purchasers? And that never made any sense to me. Or are you going to leave that up to the banks? Is the bank's job now? They got to be the FBI? They got to identify the next terrorist spending money at a gun store? The banks? Does that make any sense to you? But I think the idea was this information is all going to be turned over to the government. So, okay, so let's say it's all turned over to the FBI. The FBI gets a report that Guy Relford spent $2,000 at Indy Arms. It doesn't say what I bought. And so, exactly what good is that information? What use is that information? Let's say I'm a member of Al-Qaeda. I just converted. Yes, I'm a member of Al-Qaeda. I want to destroy America. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy 5 $400 ARs. I don't think they have any cheap ARs at Indy Arms. They sell nicer firearms than that. But let's hypothetically, I buy 4 $500 ARs at Indy Arms because me and my 3 fellow terrorists are going to go commit a terroristic act with our AR-15s. Well, nobody's the wiser for the fact that I bought these guns. Now, the FBI knows I already, through existing processes, knows that I bought 4 ARs because I have to go through a background check, and the 4473 form gets filled out, and so there's going to be a record at the gun store. The FBI will know I passed a background check to buy a gun. The gun store has the information of what I bought. That's under existing processes now. But under this new credit card code, they'll just know the fact that I spent $2,000 at Indy Arms. That's it. I could have spent the same $2,000 to buy a gun safe, or $2,000 worth of .22 ammo because I have a Boy Scout troop, and my troop is about to go out and have all my Boy Scouts qualify for their marksmanship badge with their Ruger 1022 rifles, and I want to have enough ammo for the next several different classes of Boy Scouts to accomplish the same thing. And there was a good price, so I bought $2,000 worth. Whatever I bought is not identified. So how the hell do you identify suspicious purchases with that? You can't do it. And so what I really think is the reason, and why are anti-gun groups pushing this? Homeland Security wasn't pushing it to identify the next terrorist or domestic mass shooter. Gun control groups were. Why did gun control groups want this code? We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about exactly why I think gun control groups want this code and what this bill that just passed in the Indiana General Assembly and is on its way to the governor's desk really means. Right now, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Joe Biden speaks gibberish. Joe Biden has a hard time walking. He can't find his way off of a stage. Don't give me this crap that Joe Biden's cognitively all there and way superior to Donald Trump in that category. This stapler that we've got in the studio is completely more qualified to be running this country right now than Joe Biden.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Pinnacle Firearms in Carmel. These are my friends located there in Carmel, 598 West Carmel Drive, actually just a bit north of Carmel Drive at the corner of Grant Street. I go way back with these guys. They're good friends of mine. Great place to buy guns, great place to buy accessories. And by the way, I think in my last segment, I was mixing together Pinnacle firearms and Parabellum firearms out in Avon. This is Pinnacle Firearms located in Carmel. These are my good friends. I go way back with these folks. Great place to buy ammunition, accessories, and firearms, rifles, pistols, and shotguns, and really a great service they have that you can't find many places. They have an on-site gunsmith there, always there on premises when they're open, as well as expert Cerakoting and refinishing services, and I've availed myself of both. Their gunsmith has done great work for me. I've had guns refinished there, and it's just a great service and a great place to shop. Pinnacle Firearms, located in Carmel. Check them out at pinnacle-firearms.com or stop by and see them at 598 West Carmel Drive. That's pinnacle-firearms.com.
Let me tell you about Travis Barnes, a local guy from Indy, sees what happens on September 11th and decides he needs to do something, so he joins the Marines, goes through basic, gets shipped over to Iraq, does 3 tours in Operation Iraqi Freedom, and through all of this, he learns about the Marine mindset, doing things right, discipline, with only the highest standards. Travis rises up to sergeant, receives multiple combat action medals and citations, survives several IEDs, and becomes combat disabled. So he comes back to Indiana and starts Hotel Tango Distillery. Some of you might have heard of Hotel Tango, but if not, here's the deal. They're an Indianapolis company that produces spirits made with the high standards Travis learned while serving. I've tried their bourbon. I enjoy their bourbon. 94 score from Wine Enthusiast, gold at the San Francisco Spirits Competition, and the best part, under $40. So if you haven't tried it yet, head down to wherever you buy your spirits and pick up a bottle of Hotel Tango. Thanks to Travis for his service, and thanks to Hotel Tango for sponsoring the show. Hotel Tango, distilled with discipline. HotelTangoDistillery.com.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. 500 Guns is your classic old-school gun shop with the best service in Indy. You have to experience it to believe it. Joe and Guy Montgomery and their friendly staff are there to help you if you're a first-time gun owner or looking to add to your collection. They buy and sell single guns or entire collections. Visit 500 Guns today on West 16th Street or spell out the words 500guns.com. 500guns.com.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Indiana Pathways for Aging helps Hoosier Medicaid members age 60 and over get support at no additional cost to live life their way.
Mom's Parkinson's is progressing, and Pathways provides in-home support so she can be with family every day.
Pathways coordinates Medicaid and Medicare services. I'm getting help with meals, personal care, and transportation.
One day, I might choose a nursing home, but today, I have options with Pathways.
Eligible members can select a plan now. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
Accumulation, preservation, generation. At Busey Bank, these are the principles we use to build meaningful financial partnerships with our clients and their families. With sound advice and vast resources, partner with Busey for a personalized approach to your legacy. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Indy's leader in patio installation is now offering a new driveway package. Schedule a free estimate today at IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. That's IndyDecorativeConcrete.com. The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. It's Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I'm so sorry to both my friends at Pinnacle Firearms and out at Parabellum Firearms out in Avon. I do business with, as sponsors, both Pinnacle and Premier out in Brownsburg. They're the sponsor of Monday Gun Day. Premier Arms in Brownsburg. My buddy Bryce Curry out there, great guy, runs a great business out in Brownsburg. So I got three different gun stores, all of which these are my friends. I do business at each one of these places, and really like and respect all these folks. But it's Pinnacle, Premier, and Parabellum. Forgive me to Pinnacle and Parabellum, because I think I was mixing them together there last segment. I really apologize to both. I'll do better on that. I will be more disciplined on that. Back to House Bill 1084. So I'll tell you exactly why they wanted these codes. I'll tell you exactly what my theory is, and I'm very confident in this theory. Because this idea we're going to track suspicious purchases, that just simply doesn't make any sense. It's not useful for that purpose, because it doesn't tell you what's bought. I think exactly the reason they want to do it, I think it's a logical outgrowth and continuation of what the Obama administration announced in 2013, which was what they called Operation Choke Point. And this was using the financial industry to essentially destroy businesses that the Obama administration didn't like. And the firearms industry was just one industry on that list. They didn't like same-day loans or payday loans, whatever you want to call them. There were some others they didn't like, but they didn't like, obviously, the firearms industry. They hadn't done anything in Congress as far as gun control. Says, well, I know, we'll just put gun dealers and gun manufacturers, people associated with the gun industry, we'll just put them out of business. So they went to the banks and the insurance companies, the different financial institutions, and said, you really shouldn't do business with these people. And a whole lot of banks, a whole lot of credit card companies, credit card processors have done exactly that. And I've talked about it here on the show many times. The real discrimination. I had my gun shop roundtable, I called it, had 5 different owners of gun shops in here. And I asked them if they'd ever been discriminated against by a bank. All 5 hands shot in the air. And they'd had bank accounts closed. They had multiple credit card processors refused to do business. And it had nothing to do with credit, had nothing to do with anything other than Operation Choke Point. That is, or maybe they were doing it independently, but the motivation was the same. They just are anti-Second Amendment. They're anti-firearm, and so they wanted to punish anybody associated with those businesses, and decided to do things like close bank accounts, refused to do credit card processing. I had credit card processor Square that wouldn't do business with me just because I'm a firearms instructor. Selling a book off my website on gun safety to keep people safe. Oh no, we don't want to process your credit cards because you're involved with guns. What? And so that kind of discrimination is already rampant. And at the hearings on House Bill 1084, a ton of people came in and testified that they'd been the victim of exactly that kind of discrimination. I think the codes are identified transactions at gun stores, so ultimately banks and credit card companies can simply deny those transactions. They can use it as a way to not allow credit cards and debit cards to be used at those businesses at the end of the day. That's the end game. That's the goal. And what better way to put a retail business out of business than to not allow them to take credit and debit cards? Cash only as a retail business? And listen, some people only want to use cash at gun stores anyway. I get it. There's still a record left behind if you bought a gun as required by law. But I think that's why they had these codes. So House Bill 1084 passed. That prohibits the use of these codes in Indiana by, as far as identifying purchases at gun stores. That's a good thing. The bill got amended, though, in a way that I'm not happy with at all. and my friends at the National Shooting Sports Foundation, the industry group for the firearms industry, including gun retailers, they're not happy about this at all. And this happened in the Financial Institutions Committee in the Senate. And the bankers, the lobby for the bankers, got to the committee members. I say got to. Look, they just did what they're allowed to do, which is they lobbied. I'm not alleging anything inappropriate at all. But they went to these folks and said, we want an amendment because as written, the bill allowed the Attorney General to enforce the provisions of the statute. And the Attorney General could investigate whether a bank or a credit card company or credit card processor was using these codes or requiring the use of these codes, or whether they were denying transactions based on the code coming back saying it was a purchase at a gun store. And the Attorney General could do an investigation, get an injunction preventing them from doing so, and ultimately levy fines of up to $10,000 per violation. Pretty heavy hit. You're doing this several times a day, $10,000 a piece, boom. Very effective enforcement provision. People aren't going to do it with that kind of penalty. But the bankers successfully lobbied members of that committee. And they amended it to take out the provision where the Attorney General enforces the statute and instead left it to the regulators who already regulate banks and credit card processors, the bank regulators, and simply said, you can enforce this. But there's no penalty provision. So the suggestion at the committee hearing that I was at, that I attended, to not dangle my preposition, that I attended, the suggestion was, well, regulators can revoke their charter, can put them out of business if they violate the law. So isn't losing your charter to do business more severe than a fine? Well, yes. The question becomes, are the regulators really going to do that? Or are the regulators that regulate the banks pretty damn chummy with the banks already? And the banks know they're not going to lose their charter over this. So what are they going to get? They're going to get an angry letter? They'll get a stern letter from the regulators going, you bad bank, you better quit using these codes. But there's no enforcement provision in terms of a particular fine per violation like there was. Now it's just the regulators can enforce it. And the regulators have the ability to pull their charter, I guess. And maybe they have another fine system within the banking regulations. I don't know. I'm the gun guy, not the banking guy. But I think it really cuts a lot of the enforcement provision by cutting, I'll rephrase that, by cutting a lot of the enforcement provision out. In fact, really, in my mind, the entire enforcement provision. And just saying, well, the regulators can regulate this in however way they want to me, guts the bill to a very large degree. Now, does the law of the state of Indiana say those codes cannot be used in Indiana? Yes. And if you get denied, there's plenty of money in your bank account. You try to use your debit card at a gun store, it gets denied. We find out they're using these codes. Can we go to the regulators and say, this bank right here is violating Indiana law? It's a statute that says they can't do this. You, the regulator, need to step up and do the right thing. Can we do that? Yes. Is that still then up to the regulators to decide what it is they want to do? Yeah. So good thing. Codes can't be used in Indiana. Great. What's the downside for doing so? We don't really know. That's in the hands of the bank regulators, and they can handle it how they choose. Not entirely thrilled with that. On the better news side of things, the other bill that we lobbied for hard and we also got passed and that was not substantially amended is House Bill 1235, and that would require the dismissal of this ridiculous lawsuit that's been pending for something like 24, going on 25 years, brought by the city of Gary that blames the entire gun industry for the crime they have in Gary. Yeah, it's not our problem that we have a gang issue in Gary. It's not our problem we have a violence issue. It's the gun industry. It's Smith & Wesson and Glock and Sig Sauer. It's their fault we have a crime problem in Gary. Okay, that's the theory. And gun stores, those bad gun stores who comply with the law, they do background checks. If they don't do that, they're violating the law. They'll lose their license and potentially go to prison. So they're complying with the law that way, but hey, they're still selling guns to people who use the guns, and or sell them to people who shouldn't have them, or I don't know what the theory is. But it was a silly lawsuit. It's been a silly lawsuit for a long time. House Bill 1235 would finally require the dismissal of that. There's a Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act at the federal level. Indiana has a similar version. It says these exact kind of lawsuits can't go forward. And the lawyers and the judges have found a way around the existing statute. So finally now we have a law that seems pretty clear, because it says only the state can maintain such an action. And it's retroactive back to before the filing of this lawsuit. Only the state can maintain such an action, if at all, as within the confines of the immunity statutes that already exist, that need to exist because people try to use the courtroom to accomplish what they can't accomplish in the legislature, Congress, or the state legislature. So 1235 passed, also should be on its way to the governor's desk here very soon. We hope both of those get signed by the governor, hope both of them take effect. We'll finally get rid of this silly Gary lawsuit so Indiana could compete, for instance, with moving gun-related businesses to Indiana. I mean, Remington was moving. They've announced their move. And we had no shot in Indiana of getting that business here because they don't want to move to a state where they can get sued for simply lawfully selling a product that does exactly what it's intended to do. Well, that's what the Gary lawsuit represented. That's what we've put an end to, hopefully, through this legislation. That's all good news. Right now, we're a little past the bottom of the hour. We're taking a break. I want to continue to take your calls. We had some great calls last segment. Would love to take your calls again. 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. Give us a call and join us at The Gun Guy Show. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
Everything is so expensive now. It makes it very hard for young people who don't want to be freeloaders, who want to be independent, who want to have their own existence, who want to do everything we say society should be wanting to do.
Mm-hmm. And especially in the past couple of years, how much rent has raised. The cost for everything. The energy bill is going to be higher. Food prices.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
So the time is now to maximize your home sale price with the agent and the team that I recommend. That would be one Mr. Mark Dietl. Here's what Dan and Jen in Avon had to say. We were ready to downsize and move to a smaller dream home. There were many challenges to navigate, but luckily we had the Mark Dietl team on our side. They got our difficult to sell house sold at the price we needed. They are truly the best.
Mark Dietl is the only real estate expert we trust and recommend here on the Hammer and Nigel Show. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, no required repairs. Contact Mark Dietl today, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietl.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Did you know one of the best investments you can make? It's in yourself. At My Computer Career, in just a few months, you could start your new career in the high-demand, recession-resistant field of information technology. Isn't it time you invest in you and start a career in networking, cybersecurity, AI, or upskill to boost your current IT career? So, get the ROI you deserve at My Computer Career. No experience necessary. Start now at mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard.
Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard.
It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Jack Callahan, President Biden, and former President Trump each holding campaign events in Georgia today. The state is holding its primary Tuesday, along with Hawaii, Mississippi, and Washington. The president has signed a package of 6 appropriations bills into law for the fiscal year that began more than 5 months ago. Many continue to be outraged by the ongoing southern border crisis. Texas Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez tells Fox News every American ought to be.
Here you are, Americans. You're doing all the things you're supposed to do. You're following the rules. You're paying your taxes. You're doing everything you're supposed to do. And all of a sudden, you're at the back of the line while people that are breaking the law, that are illegally into our country, are getting to the front of the line.
Border Patrol sources tell Fox News they heard suspected Mexican cartel members laugh yesterday after the crash of a National Guard helicopter that killed 3. America is listening to Fox News.
Want more speed? Then you're in luck, because Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. Plus, with super fast internet and a reliable connection, you can do more of what you love whenever you want. More gaming, more downloading, more video chatting, and more cozy nights on the couch streaming your favorite movies and TV shows. If life with double the speed is sounding pretty awesome, that's because it is. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $20 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Plus, for a limited time, learn how you can get a $100 prepaid card when you get more speed when you sign up online. Just go to Xfinity.com to switch today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed.
Your tax refund belongs to you, not an identity thief. Over $6 billion in tax refunds were flagged by the IRS for possible identity theft in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues, and all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Don't let someone else enjoy your refund. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at $129 plus a free hallway and $75 off duct cleaning too. Call 317-388-5141. Online at ZeroResIndy.com.
See Absolute Comfort at the Flower and Patio Show, booth 382, to learn more about Mitsubishi Ductless Mini Splits. Absolute Comfort, your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer.
Kids across America are going to school hungry every day. No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Let's talk a little bit about self-defense. And I posted a video. If you're not driving, if you're somewhere where you can safely access your phone or your computer, go to Facebook, go to Gun Guy WIBC on Facebook, or you can go to Twitter at Guy Relford. And I've posted the video both places. By the way, if you go on Twitter at Guy Relford, give me a follow while you're on there. My followers, I'm still slacking, man. I'm not impressed with my number of followers. And I've come to the conclusion that my fellow gun nuts, that's a term of endearment, by the way, are not necessarily Twitter users, because I don't have a great following on Twitter. But give me a follow on there. But check out a video that I posted, because this video points out a really number of key issues when it comes to self-defense. And as I mentioned, often here on the Gun Guy Show, I teach the essentials of Indiana gun law, where we talk a lot about self-defense. We talk about things like Kessel Doctrine and what exactly that means. And you talk about when you're justified in using force, including deadly force. And if you're not where you can see it, I'll describe it to you. But the video shows, and this was posted by USCCA. A person called earlier and asked me about USCCA. That's U.S. Concealed Carry Association. And like I said, I've been a member there. Full disclosure, a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they paid me, 2 or 3 times to come in and teach their legal seminar on the use of force, or the self-defense seminar, I think they called it. And they paid me a little bit of money to come in and teach like 45 minutes or so, which is sort of a short excerpt of what I teach in my essentials class. And then, there's no question they're bringing you in there with the idea of a free class. So they then want to sell you their insurance and their memberships. And I also, like I said, I pay for it full price. I've had their insurance, their so-called carry insurance, which provides you insurance and to pay for a defense if you're prosecuted or sued after using your firearm in self-defense. And it works. I mean, I've not had to use it, thank God, but I've been hired as an attorney by people who had that insurance, and USCCA paid me. The person insured didn't. So it does work. But full disclosure, it's been a couple, 3 years since they've paid me any money, and it was just a couple of times. But I don't ever want to talk about a company in positive terms without disclosing that I've had a financial relationship with them. But USCCA posted this video. And like I said, if you can pull it up on your phone or computer, you can do so at my Twitter. Is probably the easiest thing on Twitter, or X, I guess we call it, at Guy Relford. But what it shows is a guy has just pulled into his garage, and he's shutting the garage door. And just before the garage door hits the ground, you see a hand come up underneath the garage door and stop it from coming down, and it sends the door back up. And then a guy and two other guys, 3 people, enter the garage. And the first guy who stopped the door from coming down, he apparently is the leader. He seems to be the big guy in charge. And he comes walking in, and he's got a gun in his hand. And he walks right up to the driver's side door and opens the door. Whereupon the driver of the car, presumably whose house this is, starts shooting. And shoots the guy who just opened his door with a gun in his hand. As soon as he starts shooting, as you might expect, the other 2 guys, they're getting out of Dodge. I mean, they're heading for the hills. They turn around and are full sprint out of the garage. The guy, after shooting the dude who just opened his door, and he falls out of the screen, the guy who got shot, but apparently got shot 3 or 4 times by the number of flashes you see, at least 2 or 3. Then the guy turns around and starts shooting at the guys running out the door. And as the good guy who's defending his home, defending himself, as he's running toward the garage door that's now fully open, you see him shooting out of the garage door at the bad guys you can't even see in the frame of the doorway anymore, of the garage door. They're out of the garage, running away. The guy shoots 2 or 3 or more shots as these guys are out of the garage running away. And so I saw this video, and USCCA asked the same question I did when I reposted it, which is this justified deadly force in self-defense? Is this legal or not? And it was interesting the responses I got. One of the first people came on and said, "Well, yeah, they're in his curtilage." I chuckled a little bit because it's a term you don't use very much, but that word is in our self-defense statute, which I'll explain here in a bit. And by the way, I said yes, and probably not was my answer when I reposted it. Well, what did I mean by that? Well, the first 2 or 3 shots at the guy who just opened the man's door with a gun in his hand, that's one issue. What about the other guys who, yes, illegally, crime, were among the 3 people who broke into this guy's garage, stopped the door from coming down, came in, clearly with the intent of at least carjacking this guy. We don't know what else they might have wanted to do. Maybe it was going to be a home invasion too. We don't know. But we know at least one guy had a gun in his hand. What about the shooting of the other 2 people as they're bolting out the door? Well, that's what we'll talk about when we come back. Right now, we're at the 3/4 hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Biden constantly lies.
He was doing a victory lap on prices. He said costs were down. Just because it's not at the record level that you were responsible for previously, you don't get to do a victory lap. It's still substantially higher than when your predecessor was in office.
Yeah, and they're not coming back down.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our most popular class is our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class, where we talk a lot about self-defense, exactly as we're talking about on this show right now. You can check out the next one, Saturday, March 16th, just a week from today, 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. at Indy Arms. And then we've got the same class the following weekend, March 23rd at Parabellum in Avon. If the West Side's easier for you, also 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. You can sign up right online at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey guys, it's Rob from my friends at Universal Windows Direct, and man, they just have an incredible deal going on right now. You can't beat it. Call Universal Windows Direct today at 317-659-7574, and for every 2 windows you buy, get the next 2 free. Buy 2, get 2. Buy 4, get 4. Buy 20, get 20. There's no limit. Plus, they'll upgrade your new windows to triple pane glass for free. That means extra protection from the elements, a consistent temperature in your home, increased energy efficiency, and reduced heating and cooling costs, plus a quieter and more comfortable home. And in addition to these incredible windows, they're giving you such a great price, Universal Windows Direct, right now when you call 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574 to schedule your free in-home estimate today. Buy 2, you get 2 free. Plus, yes, there's more. If you mention my name, Rob Kendall, you get $250 off your project. Universal Windows Direct, tell them Rob sent you.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating, family-owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch-resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas, too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Do gurgling pipes, a running toilet, a small leak in your basement keep you up at night? Hey, Pat Sullivan here, and I can tell you that becoming a member at Hope Plumbing will give you the comfort of knowing you have a plumber on call. For only $8 a month, you get the ease of having your own plumber on hand, a 10% discount on all plumbing services, 1 annual free mainline cleaning, 1 annual plumbing safety inspection, and all the trip charges waived. Call Hope Plumbing today and become a member to start saving big.
Michaelis presents Password. The word is basement.
Wet. Rain. Leaky. Faucet. Stinky. Socks. Moldy. Underwear. No, it's basement. Really moldy underwear.
Well, sometimes.
Ew.
Basement waterproofing and French drains. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Come on, take your basement back. 844-FIX-INDY.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for the last segment of the Gun Guy Show. We'll talk more about this video. I'll tell you what, Bob's been on hold for quite a while. Let's go to the phone lines. And hey, Bob, thanks for calling the Gun Guy Show.
Hey, Guy, quick question, and then I'll get off and listen to your answer.
Sure.
My 84-year-old mom, she wants me to take her out to the town she grew up in, Portsmouth, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we both have permits. We both carry concealed. Now, I know it's not legal for me to carry in Virginia, and I know they're not a gun-friendly state. But I also have heard that old adage about, it's better to be tried by 12 than carried by 6. And I'm thinking about taking my gun with me because, after all, nobody's going to know I got it unless I have to use it. And if I have to use it, well, then, that's my question, and I'll get off and listen.
Well, Bob, I'm a lawyer, so you're not going to hear me advise you to break the law of any state. Having said that, I understand the mentality of saying you'd rather risk a possible prison sentence than, having someone attack you, be defenseless, and lose your life. But that's simply a balance everybody has to make, a decision everybody has to make on their own. And you're not going to hear me recommend that somebody break the law, certainly not on the radio anyway. But that may be also, to some degree, more of a do as I say than do as I do type scenario too. And that's not advice, just an observation. But listen, we've only got about 3 minutes left. But here's the breakdown on this video. Again, 3 guys coming into the garage illegally. One guy with a gun in his hand opens the door. First shooting, absolutely, completely justified. It's clearly at least a carjacking. Guy's got a gun in his hand. And Indiana law says you can prevent a forcible felony with deadly force. Carjacking is a forcible felony. Indiana law also says you can prevent or terminate an unlawful entry or attack on your occupied vehicle, your occupied motor vehicle. So the guy walks up, opens the door. The bad guy walks up, opens the door of the good guy's car. That's an unlawful entry into the vehicle. So he's defending that as well. That shooting, no question, justified. Now he shoots more than once. Bang, bang, bang. Well, if you fire more than one shot, each shot has to be justified. But if you shoot in rapid succession, bang, 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 that could be because you simply have a handgun. Handguns are notoriously bad fight stoppers. There's nothing wrong with shooting more than one shot as long as you're justified to begin with. Now, if the threat ends or the attempted forcible felony ends, you have to stop shooting. But at that point, the fact that you've shot more, one guy posted in response, in Indiana, you can't shoot more than one shot ever. If you do, it's a crime. No, that's not how that works. Each shot has to be justified. But shooting bang, bang, bang when somebody opens your door with a gun in his hand is going to be justified. Now, what about the 2 guys who turned and ran? That's also true they entered the guy's garage. Does that then create justification under the Kessel Doctrine? Kessel Doctrine deals with your dwelling. We don't know whether this is an attached garage or a detached garage. We don't know. Is a garage part of your dwelling? Arguably, yes, but that's a question not resolved in Indiana courts. But the fact they were in the garage, okay, well, are they part of the carjacking? Probably. But once they turned to run, and actually left the garage, the Castle Doctrine says, let's assume that your garage is your dwelling. And that's a good chance that courts would so find. You can use reasonable force, including deadly force, to prevent or terminate an unlawful entry into your dwelling. Okay, your garage is your dwelling. Let's assume that for the sake of the discussion. The word necessary is in there. Necessary to terminate. If they've turned and ran, and they're already outside of the garage, is any force necessary to terminate that unlawful entry? No. Let's say, well, they're part of the carjacking. Okay. The attempted carjacking's over. They're running away. You're not preventing the carjacking if you're shooting at someone running away. Now, am I saying these guys would all get prosecuted? No, I'm not saying that. I'm sorry, the shooter would get prosecuted. No, I'm not saying that because a prosecutor might decide they're simply not going to bring charges. But technically, the shooting while the guys are running away, not justified. It's a good thing to know. That's it for this week's show. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope you come back next week. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
I'm Darren Andrews from We Grow Here Indy, and 18 years ago, I got